Good morning, students. For the last time, for the next 8 days, I'm going to give you a lesson. Okay, guys, this is chapter 7 of Matthew. This is the end of the Sermon on the Mount. Remember, Sermon on the Mount is the most important speech or teaching Jesus is going to deliver when you talk to non-Christians. These are going to be the ideas that they typically know from him. So, without further ado, we're going to jump right in. I'm actually going to stop at the end of every section and teach it right there on the fly, okay? Judging others. Stop judging that you may not be judged. For as you judge, so you will be judged. And the measure with which you measure will be measured out to you. Why do you notice the splinter in your brother's eye, but not perceive the wooden beam in your own eye? How can you say to your brother, "Let me remove that splinter from your eye," while the wooden beam is still in your eye? You hypocrite! Remove the wooden beam from your eye first. Then you will see clearly to remove the splinter from your other's eye. Guys, you are going to love this one, right? Stop judging people. Stop judging people. Stop thinking you're better than everyone. Stop thinking you know everything. Until that time with which you've looked at yourself. Have you looked at yourself? Have you taken a real look at your life? Do you every day think about how can I be better? How can I be kinder? How can I be a better son, father, mother, brother, sister, cousin, whatever? It doesn't say stop forever. It doesn't say never judge. It doesn't say, well, no, it does say never judge. But it doesn't say never give each other advice. It doesn't say never try to correct each other. What it's saying is before you go working on someone else, before you go taking that little splinter out of someone's eye, why don't you work on yourself? Why don't you make sure that you don't have a freaking wooden beam in your eye? It's wonderful advice. I love it. Pearls before swine. Do not give what is holy to dogs, or throw your pearls before swine, lest they trample them underfoot and tear you to pieces. Okay, so this one is one of the ones that has vexed humanity forever. What did he mean by this? What did he mean by this? I have two professors who've given me two different answers. I'm going to share them both with you. I think both of them can be true. The idea is do not give your pearls, your valuable jewels, or holy things to dogs and pigs. That's what swine means. Swines are pigs, okay? The two ways this can be interpreted for me is two things. One, when you want to share with people your belief in Jesus, make sure they're ready to hear about it. Do not go up to somebody who is angry and vengeful and hates God and hates the world and hates life and say, "Oh, well, God came, you know what I mean, right?" They're not ready to hear the story. They're not ready to hear about God in that capacity, right? So don't take what's holy. Don't take the story of God. Don't share your faith in Christ with people who are not ready to hear it. The other way that one always gets taken is, what are we as human beings have that's more valuable than anything else? What is more personal to us? What is most essential about us? It's our bodies, right? We don't let other people violate our bodies. We don't let other people touch our bodies. Our bodies are sacred. They're our space. They're our home. And if you give your body to somebody who is a pig, swine, they're going to trample you. They're going to rock you underfoot. So it could be two things. But you can just take the lesson in general, right? Your faith, your body, your sexuality, these are things that are incredibly valuable. You should be careful who you share them with. And you should only give them to somebody who's going to love you forever. The answer to prayers. Ask and it will be given to you. Seek and you will find. Knock and the door will be opened to you. For everyone who asks receives, and the one who seeks finds. And to the one who knocks the door will be opened. Which one of you would hand his son a stone when he asks for a loaf of bread? Or a snake when he asks for a fish? If you then, who are wicked, know how to give good gifts to your children, how much more will your heavenly Father give good things to those who ask him? I love this teaching on prayer. Mark's teaching on prayer is a little bit confusing, a little bit shrouded. It's the idea that anything you want, you're going to get, right? And because he's trying to teach you to have faith, he's trying to teach you that no matter how desperate, no matter how bad things are, aka Mark's audience was under the death penalty, you should pray for it. Matthew's audience is not under the death penalty. So Matthew's saying, listen, you're jerks, and you don't even trick your kids. You're jerks, and you give your kids the things they want. So God's perfect. So if God's perfect, how much better are his gifts going to be? So if you want something, go for it. If you need something, ask for it. If there's opportunity, knock on the door, chase it down. Live, 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 because you have a shot, you have a chance, and you have a God on your side who loves you and wants you to be happy. Doesn't say he's going to give you everything. It doesn't say that all your prayers are going to be answered. What it says is shoot your shot. Go for it. Ask for it. Pray for it. He's listening and he loves you. The golden rule. Do unto others what you would have them do to you. This is the law and the prophets, right? We talked about this. Even non-Christians, according to the Catholic Church, can go to heaven. The idea of the other human being being divine, if you're divine, they're divine. If you're holy, they're holy. If your humanity makes you special, their humanity makes them special. Go for it. Trust, love them, even when they're horrible, even when they're terrible. Treat them the way you want them to treat you. The golden rule. False prophets. Beware of false prophets who come in sheep's clothing, but underneath they are ravenous wolves. By their fruits you will know them. Do people pick grapes from thorn bushes or figs from thistles? Just so, every good tree bears good fruit, and a rotten tree bears bad fruit. A good tree cannot bear bad fruit, nor can a rotten tree bear good fruit. Every tree that does not bear good fruit will be cut down and thrown in the fire. So thereby by their fruits in them. Once again, guys, culturally this would have made a lot of sense to Jews 2,000 years ago because they were all eating, farming, tending to fruit trees. Not many of us tend to fruit trees. What Jesus is saying here is there's going to be a lot of people that claim to be me. There's going to be a lot of people that claim to be Christian. There's going to be a lot of people that claim to be good people. Don't just listen to what they have to say. You have to know them by their fruits. What do they put out into the world? Do they build charities? Do they take care of widows? Do they take care of the homeless? Do they have wonderful families that believe in them and support them and have been with them for years and years and years? If they have those things, they're probably a really good person. But if they move from town to town to town and they only stay for 3 days and then they leave again and they have no followers, you don't know of any of their good works, then be a little bit careful with them. The other thing it's saying is you are only as good as what you produce in this world. Meaning you can talk all day long about how much you love God, but if nothing good ever comes out of you, if no wonderfulness ever springs from your faith, then why are you good? Or, other side of the coin is, if all you do everywhere you go is cause anguish and pain and disruption and hurt and lying, then I don't care how much you claim to be a good tree, you're not a good tree. Good trees bear good fruit. The thistle and prickerbush thing is saying you can't go into a bunch of weeds in the woods and pick grapes out of them. And you don't go to an apple tree and get pricked, right? So, by the type of plant you are, you should be producing good fruit or bad fruit. And the bad trees, guys, the ones that produce bad fruit, in the end of time, they're getting cut down. So, for the rest of this passage, we're going to be talking about what happens at the end of the world. The true disciple. Not everyone who says to me, Lord, Lord, will enter into the kingdom of heaven, but only the one who does the will of my Father in heaven. Many will say to me on that day, Lord, Lord, did we not prophesy in your name? Did we not drive out demons in your name? Did we not do mighty deeds in your name? Then I will declare to them, I never knew you. Depart from me, you evildoers. Wow, this one could be scary, right? Because what you want to read into this is the idea that there are people who tried to be good for Christ. There are people who tried to be good Christians. They were doing all the right things, and Jesus just doesn't want them. That's not it. Please understand. Jesus is saying the reason that they're not getting into heaven is because Jesus never knew them. They never really prayed to Jesus. They never really cared about Jesus. They never really loved Jesus, asked to Jesus, communicated with Jesus. All they were doing was using Jesus' name to get popular, or to make money, or to grow crowds of people that would listen to them, to give them influence, right? Because what they say is, didn't we drive out demons in your name? Didn't we prophesy in your name? Didn't we do mighty deeds in your name? But if they just prayed to Jesus, if they just communicated with Jesus, then Jesus would know them. You see, these are the people who pretend to be religious. These are the people who pretend to care about God, but never pray once. They never thank God once. They never ask God for help once. So don't be like those people. The two foundations. Everyone who listens to these words of mine and acts on them will be like a wise man who builds his house on rock. The rain fell and the floods came, and the wind blew and buffeted the house, but it did not collapse. It had been set solidly on rock. And everyone who listens to these words of mine but does not act on them will be like a fool who built his house on sand. The rain falls, the floods come, the winds blow and buffet the house, and it collapsed and was completely ruined. When Jesus finished these words, the crowd were astonished at his teaching, for he taught them as one having authority, not as their scribes. So guys, this one's pretty simple to understand, right? Jesus is saying in these last 3 chapters, in these last big speech, I've taught you how to get into heaven. I've taught you how to be a good husband. I've taught you how to be a good friend. I've taught you how to be a good Jew. I've taught you how to be a good future Christian. You have a choice now. If you listen to me and you live your life trying to be best, if you live your life trying to be like God, you're building a strong house with a strong foundation, because flood, rain, buffeting winds, they're coming. And if you take these principles, if you take these teachings, your house is built on rock. Rock doesn't move. Rock doesn't shift. Rock stands firm through the floods, through the rains, through the winds. But if you heard me tell you to love your neighbor as you love yourself, to stop looking at women like objects, to stop hating people, if you literally heard all these things I was telling you about how to get into heaven, about how to be a good person, about how to pray, how to take care of the poor, if you took all this advice and you don't listen because you think you know better or because you want what you want, that's like building a house on sand. And building a house on sand is great until it rains and it washes the sand away. And then it floods and it washes the sand away. And then the minute that wind blows, your house is going to collapse. Amazing stuff. Amazing stuff from Jesus. All right, have a wonderful week off. I care about you. I was going to salute you. I care about you. Goodbye.